Welcome to The Explainer. Listen, if you're a focused learner looking to completely demystify the Cambridge AS and A-level accounting syllabus, well, you've landed in exactly the right spot. Today, we're stepping into an absolute masterclass on the theoretical architecture of Accounting 9706. And I want to be clear right off the bat, we aren't just going to sit here and read textbook definitions together. No way. We're going to look directly through the examiner's lens. We're going to decode the specific strategies, the cognitive frameworks, and the exact presentation formats that literally separate your average everyday candidates from the top-tier elite scholars. So grab your notes, get focused, and let's dive right into this.
I want you to consider the sheer weight of what we're actually covering today. Think about that 15% slice right there. That represents our entire focus for this masterclass. Accounting concepts, specifically encompassing business entity, historic cost, money measurement, and going concern, account for approximately 15% of the total marks in Paper 2. Just pause and think about that. That is a massive chunk of your final grade wrapped up in just a few foundational principles. Mastering these concepts isn't just about passing some quick multiple-choice question. It's the absolute master key that unlocks your ability to analyze complex data across the entire exam. It's the difference between a passing grade and a top-tier band.
So, here is our strategic roadmap for this session. First up, defining core concepts. Second, we're deploying the method mark strategy. Third, avoiding examiner traps. And finally, mastering critical evaluation. We're going to move systematically through each of these to maximize your exam performance.
Okay, starting with Section 1, defining core concepts. You have to understand that this is the absolute bedrock of the entire syllabus. Before you can even think about balancing a complex set of financial statements or evaluating a company's liquidity, you have to understand the theoretical architecture that holds the whole shebang together. It all rests on four crucial pillars. First, we have the business entity concept. This essentially mandates that the business is treated as completely, legally, and functionally separate from its owner. Your personal bank account is not the business's bank account. Second is historic cost. This dictates that transactions are recorded at their original cost, not what their current market value might be today. It keeps things objective. Third is money measurement. This one's huge. It means we only record items that can be reliably quantified in monetary terms. So we're totally ignoring things like staff morale or the brilliance of a CEO, no matter how absolutely vital they are to the company's actual success. And fourth, going concern. This is the baseline assumption that the business will just continue to operate indefinitely into the foreseeable future, rather than liquidating tomorrow. Now, here's the kicker. Academic benchmarks for these concepts require highly logical, structured reasoning. Examiners are definitely not looking for superficial memorization here. They want to see if you deeply understand why these rules exist in the first place, and exactly how they govern every single entry in a ledger.
This perfectly captures what Cambridge is actually testing. Take a second to internalize this direct quote from the syllabus. Top-performing students exhibit connected, conceptual understanding transferable to unfamiliar contexts. If you just memorize a textbook definition of historic cost, well, that might get you one single mark. But if you can explain how applying historic cost to a newly purchased, rapidly depreciating asset impacts the balance sheet in a totally unique, unseen business scenario, now that is how you unlock the highest marking bands. Examiners ruthlessly reward candidates who can take these foundational concepts and adapt them on the fly to entirely new, unexpected scenarios.
Moving right along to Section 2, the method mark strategy.
All right, listen up, because this strategy is an insider tip that can absolutely save your grade when the math gets tough. Cambridge actually awards marks for demonstrating a rigorous process, not just spitting out the final number. So here is your procedural framework, step by step. Step 1. Deconstruct the question. Are you being asked to analyze or evaluate? Know the command word. Step 2. Extract your relevant data. Step 3. Select the appropriate analytical framework from those core concepts we just talked about. Step 4. Execute with clear notation. Step 5. Verify your results. And Step 6. Present everything using correct terminology. Before we look at how to present that terminology properly, I want to take a quick second to say, if you want to master these cognitive strategies and never miss a weekly Cambridge breakthrough, make sure you hit that subscribe button for Ace the Exam's IGCS O and A levels. That's at AceTheExam_IGCES and enable all notifications. Okay, back to the strategy. The beauty of this 6-step process is that even if you make a calculation error somewhere in the middle, strictly following this path captures all those crucial method marks.
But you have to remember, practical application requires professional execution. Strict adherence to presentation conventions is entirely non-negotiable. We're talking proper headings, correct terminology, appropriate formats, and clear annotation. You're essentially being trained to think and communicate like a professional accountant. If you present a beautiful set of calculations but you fail to label your headings, or you use messy, unreadable formats, the examiner simply cannot award you top marks. The format is literally just as important as the figures themselves.
Let's shift gears to Section 3, Avoiding Examiner Traps.
We're getting highly strategic now and looking directly at the principal examiner reports. These reports are absolute goldmines. They tell us exactly where incredibly smart students unnecessarily hemorrhage marks year after year. So here are the top 3 mistakes directly from the source. Number 1, using the wrong approach for the wrong context. Students so often try to force a pre-memorized cookie-cutter answer into a scenario where it just doesn't fit. Number 2, forgetting to check format and presentation. We literally just talked about how fatal that is. And number 3, answers are not specific to the context given. Let's say the question is about a manufacturing business struggling with its liquidity. If your answer about the going concern concept doesn't specifically mention that unique manufacturing context, you're not getting full credit. Generic answers receive generic, low-tier marks. It really is that simple.
I need you to pay super close attention to this critical examiner alert. Always define terms before using them in extended responses. The reports reveal that candidates consistently confuse key terminology. A completely fatal flaw in these high-stakes exams is assuming the examiner just knows what you mean. You might know what money measurement means in your head, but if you don't explicitly define it on the page before applying it to your extended essay response, you are leaving major points on the table. Spell it out for them. You have to prove your baseline knowledge before you can build your complex argument.
Finally, we reach Section 4, Mastering Critical Evaluation.
This is the final stage. This is how you unlock those highly coveted, top-tier marking bands. Ultimately, it comes down to a battle of depth versus breadth. Superficial breadth is just listing basic facts. It's essentially summarizing what the examiner already gave you in the prompt. Analytical depth, on the other hand, is entirely different. It's about questioning assumptions and using evidence-based reasoning. Let me tell you, the examiner prioritizes depth over breadth every single time. It is infinitely better to take 2 strong points and analyze them deeply, really explaining the why and the how, than to just list 5 points superficially and move on.
So you're probably wondering, how do we actually achieve that kind of depth? Well, here is your definitive checklist for evaluating evidence quality. When you're looking at data, you have to actively challenge it. First, identify the limitations of the data provided. What isn't it telling you? Second, note any assumptions the business owner has made. Are they assuming they're a going concern when, realistically, they are on the brink of bankruptcy? Third, consider alternative interpretations of the financial results. Could a drop in profits actually be due to a massive strategic long-term investment? And finally, assess the overall effect of these factors on your final conclusions. Don't just politely accept the numbers, you have to interrogate them.
Which brings us to a final, absolutely vital strategy. The principal examiner reports explicitly state that referencing cross-topic connections achieves significantly higher marks. Integration is the true hallmark of a master student. Think about it. If you're writing an answer about the historic cost concept, and you can logically connect it to depreciation methods or inventory valuation from entirely different chapters of the syllabus, you are instantly signaling to the examiner that you possess a comprehensive, elite understanding of the entire accounting ecosystem. You aren't just thinking in silos, you're seeing the whole matrix.
So, we've covered the core concepts, the method mark strategy, the examiner's hidden traps, and the formula for critical evaluation. The question I want to leave you with today is this. How will you leverage these cross-topic connections and this critical evaluation mindset to absolutely conquer your next Cambridge exam? Don't just study harder, study more strategically. Take these tools, apply them to your next set of past papers, and watch your analysis totally transform. And remember, crushing Cambridge exams requires consistent strategy. So make sure you hit the subscribe button for Ace the Exam's IGCSE, O, and A levels. Again, that's at Ace the Exam IGCE. Turn on the notification bell for future exam hacks, and drop a comment below with your target grade. Thank you so much for joining me for this masterclass, and keep learning.